Sutam Devam Kamsucharuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. We offer our salutations to Krishna, who is the Guru and God, the son of Vasudeva and the supreme bliss of his mother Devaki, the destroyer of the forces of Kamsa and Chanura. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 7. The cyclic nature. Yeah. I mean, everything in nature is cyclic. Has to be. So the 7th verse is, O son of Kunti, that's Arjuna, all created beings go back at the end of a cycle to my Prakriti. I project them forth again at the beginning of a cycle. This is cyclic. Now, before you can go in, we can just dwell a little on this word Prakriti. Pra means forth, to go forth. And Kri, the word karma comes from this word Kri, the stem, the root word. To make or to do. That is something that is made to go forth and be constantly going forth over and over and over again. We have one thing, it's like one thought we have, and that bifurcates into two, and then trifurcates into 6, 3 year, 3 year. And over it keeps on branching. This is on the conscious level. In the subconscious level also you find there is no one thought in isolation. One thought gives rise or birth to another thought, and another thought, and another thought, and there is like going forth. Well, when you're talking about the whole cosmos, it is called Prakriti. It is translated as nature. It is also translated as the power of the Lord. Devatma Shakti. It's the power of the Lord. Swagunair Nigudam, hidden in its own qualities. So the qualities of Sattva and Rajas and Tamas are the manifestations of Prakriti. Now look at it like this. Prakriti has various levels. So here he says, all created beings, or all created things, go back at the end of a cycle of time, of course, to my Prakriti. Why? Because they had emerged from that source. That is the source, that is the womb, as well as the tomb. Everything goes in, and that tomb becomes a womb, and then it emerges again. Saying, I project them forth again and again at the beginning of a cycle. So we're not just talking about one cycle. The cyclic nature of this universe is being spoken about. And this nature, which is the power of God, is one with him, and that's the reason I say my Prakriti, my power, my nature. This is the general, you can say, meaning of this. So all created beings go back at the end of a cycle to my... See what happens? A cycle of projection in Sanskrit, there is no word, there is a word for creation, but properly speaking, it is called as projection, srishti, srij, which projects. When you create something out of what? Existing materials? Yeah. The Lord, what the Lord does is project. This whole idea of creation out of nothing, creatio ex nihilo, that's not. So what does the Lord project it from? From the pre-existing creation. You disassemble it and reassemble it. So it's a projection. Always in Sanskrit and in Indian philosophy, it's always projection, not creation. We use the word creation because it's been used, creator, creation, etc. But it's a projection. And that's the reason why I say, Visrijami aham, I project. Now there's another concept here. The vast is speaking about cycle of time. It's called a massive cycle of time. This whole universe, which is as old as billions and billions of years, works in a cyclic fashion. And this is what is the nature of this world. It is projected, and as it projects, time is created. There was no time before the projection. And today's, Big Bang theories or whatever these creation theories, it's a time itself emerged after this kind of quantum fluctuation from a pretty dense point, and then the whole thing expanded. They are talking in terms of something like Vedanta. The whole thing is expanding, and the universe today is expanding and expanding and expanding. It's the same thing as projection and projection and projection. Yeah. So where is it expanding into? Expanding into space and in time. So this is the vastness of space and the vastness of time. Billions and billions of years. Yes. In the Hindu scheme of, you can say, creations or projections called kalpas, there is a projection, there is a continuation, and there's a dissolution. Because time acts on each and every thing in this universe. Time, they say, is a great destroyer. Time is a great healer. Yes, time. Where is time? That's time. No, that's not time. That's a simple, convenient division of the day for our interaction. You call it time. But time is an abstract, you can say, entity. It is there, it is not there. It is intangible. Yet, through time, we see all these changes happening. And these laws of thermodynamics, a system keeps on losing energy, heat, as they say. And everything becomes disordered. You keep this room as it is. You clean the room and keep it as it is, and return after 1 year and see the whole thing is in a kind of a disarray. Nobody has come here. That's the effect of time. So it is molding, remolding, distorting things, breaking things up, integrating things, taking things from here, putting it there. That's the role of time with a T, T-I-M-E. So this is time. Prakriti, nature, or the power of the Lord, also called avyakta, unmanifest, or Maya. That's a better word, Maya. This whole, you can say, projection is a projection of the Lord. And you can see, the Lord said, this is my Prakriti, my nature, my Maya. And in the previous verse we have seen, he has given us an example of like this massive air that flows in space. The air is not in contact with space. Air by its very nature, it flows from here, it doesn't touch it. Yeah, you feel the breeze touching you, but it's not held by these things. It is free, it flows. It cannot be contained. You can contain it in a room, and then that air will become rancid, poisonous. You open it and it flows out again. Air belongs to none. It is free, it flows. Where does it flow? It is contained in space. Even space, with its massive dimensions, the air is not in contact with it. It has to exist within space, but it is not contained in the sense of restrained. It flows. So all this creation, all this projection that we are talking about, all these massive cycles of creation are like that breeze that blows in space. And what is that space? That space is the reality called God. Ishvara, that's better. So all our conceptions of God as a person are simply dismissed by this. What? Yeah, because imagine it's not, we have something called a solar wind also. There's wind blowing out all over the universe. Yeah, gas clouds and this and that and flowing into space. So this massive universe, now this particular universe they say is 13.8 billion years old with its billions of galaxies. Yeah, we assume there are billions of galaxies. There may be more, has to be more. Innumerable. And each galaxy has about 100 billion stars. And some stars have planets. And here we are in this small dwarf, stupid star that we call the sun. Insignificant. There are some kind of dust particles moving around here, held by the gravity of this middle-aged, it's the sun here. Imagine the extent of this universe. If you go to a show, any kind of an astronomy in some planetarium, you get a little idea of the vastness of space. Now replace that space with the reality called God. And all those planets and stars and those solar winds and everything, eliminate that and replace it with beings, all beings. There you are. This is the extent of this visible Prakriti. I think this is more or less clear. Yeah. Because in the previous verse, chapter also, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravarti Norjuna. All the worlds, right up to the world of Brahma, are subject to return. So when we think about this universe, we think only the gross universe. And the world of Brahma, etc., they are all very subtle. So where astronomy stops, there Hindu cosmology takes over and saying there are more subtle and subtler and subtler and subtler realms. All these have to be included in the universe. Now we're talking about multiverses. Yeah, good. We knew about all these things, multiverses. So this subtle and gross universe is saying all created things go back at the end of a cycle to my Prakriti. I project them forth again at the beginning of a cycle. So you see what happens is when you speak about the cyclic nature of things, you cannot say, put a dot out here on the circumference and say, this is where it all started. Yeah, it could be anywhere. Just for understanding, there is that cycle that goes on and on and on, revolving, under the sway of space and time and causation. What in Vedanta is called Desha and Kala and Nimitta. Things are emerging, getting distorted, fragmenting, clumping together. And this is actually what's happening in the universe. Our whole solar system was nothing but gas clouds and clumped together. Yeah, there we are. So Vedanta is kind of putting a proposition that this is how Prakriti works. These guys have now discovered that they're clumped, and everything clumped together under the force of gravity, and there we have it. Okay, you can have it like that. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punasthani kalpadau visrijamyaham. So visrijami, srijami. I project. What? From my Prakriti. Prakriti mamikam. My Prakriti. So this reality is identified with this. When you say my body, if you say my body, nobody going to say, guy's crazy. No, that's your body. So in this way, God says that I project this whole nature belongs to me. So the whole nature, Prakriti, is called the body of God. At the same time, as you know, you are not delimited only by a body. There is a mind which transcends the body. So also, the Lord is not limited by this whole projection. Transcends. So it's an old concept also found in the Vedas. Tripadasya divi. This 1/4 has become this padosya sarva bhutani. 1/4 has become all these beings. The 3/4 are in the divine region. They transcend everything. So here he's saying, so this is Kalpa, as you said, Kalpa is a cycle of projection. And then he's saying, Kshaye is when time acts on it, and distorts it, reforms it, and that is what it goes towards dissolution. So it's a projection from the causal, the cause, into the subtle realms, and the subtle realms again combined, recombined, become gross, and then there's a resolution again of the gross into the subtle, and again from the subtle back to the causal. And there is a period of, as I say, quietude. Quiet. I'll explain what exactly happens there. So this is just for us to understand that these are these massive cycles of projection of the Lord. The 8th verse is, keeping my own Prakriti under control, I project forth again and again the whole of this multitude of created things which are helpless under the influence of Prakriti. See, we are not talking about things that are small, something that happened on Hollywood Boulevard, and something happened, I've got a headache or a stomach ache, and something happened here. No, we are talking about huge things. Suppose I burn my finger, but I see that somebody else has suffering more pain, that my pain becomes insignificant. And when I see the whole, suppose the asteroid comes and hits the earth, boom, then my burning finger becomes irrelevant. What are you talking about? So as our visions of reality keeps on expanding, these small things that we are engaged in, enmeshed in, attached within, they lose their hold on us. But if you take it from the cosmic standpoint, here he says that he projects again and again. The Lord projects this whole creation, the projection, all created being again and again. Get out, get in, get out, get in. Something like that. So you're saying, that's under my control. Okay. Now, Sri Ramakrishna says, Mahakali, at the end of the cycle, the great, you can say, Kali, Mahakali, she gathers up all the seeds of creation and keeps them in a small pot. In India, we used to have those earthenware pots, and it used to be slung on a rafter, the roof, You could just put your hand inside and search for something that you have put inside. So Sri Ramakrishna says like that, these old women, they put all those things like, bric-a-brac here, that they will later require. Thread, and he's saying hardened sea foam and blue pills and this and that, and okay, keep it there for safekeeping, and then extract it when you need it. So the great Kali, she collects all the seeds of this universe, keeps them with her, and then at the beginning of the cycle again, she brings forth all those things that she had placed in. It's a very homely, you can say, illustration. Yeah. Well, so Prakritim, as we have said, pra is to move forward, to spread, to expand. Because that's a nature of what? Kri. Pra-kri. To do, the constant vibration, constant activity, constant energy. So energy cannot be kind of still. The moment you say energy is still there, what kind of energy is that then? Oh. Energy is constantly flowing, constantly in motion, vibrations. So this is Prakritim. Swam, that is my own Prakriti. Avashtabhya, I control. By control what is it? Visrijami, I project. Puna, puna, again and again. What does it do? All this Bhuta Gramam Imam, the whole thing, all this multitude of beings, right up from Brahma down to the coronavirus, all the types of everything. Yeah, that's it. But the Lord does it how? Through the processes of evolution. And that's what things keep on expanding and expanding and expanding and manifesting and manifesting and manifesting. This is how. That's a wonderful system. And people are saying, well, what is this kind of evolution? There's no such thing. Evolution is only a theory. No, it's a theory. It's a fact here. Directly perceivable. I don't know how some of these people can even think about things don't evolve. Static, gone, you're dead. Like Swami, you'll be like mummies in that Egyptian museums. Of course, they are here also, all over the place. Avasham Prakritir Vasat. They're kind of under the control of Prakriti. So he says, keeping my own Prakriti under control, I project forth again and again the whole of this multitude of created beings, which are helpless under the influence of Prakriti. Now we know what stops us from realizing the truth, the reality. Why? This idea that I am in charge, I am in control, I am the boss, I am the this. Yeah, you can see from the cosmic standpoint, you have nothing. Yeah, if you see even the visible universe, a huge visible universe, wherever it. Yeah. The earth itself is a pale blue dot. Oh yeah. You know, when those spaceships were leaving the solar system, they kind of turned their cameras, turned themselves, and took one last picture of the solar system, of the earth. And they seen the earth as a small speck. It's a very small speck of dust. Imagine. And Carl Sagan says, in this small speck of dust, kings have come and gone, emperors have come and gone, religions have come, this and that, and we have been killing and this and that. All our dreams and all our hopes are in that small speck of dust. And imagine the egoism of a person. I know, I'm in charge, I'm in control, you nothing. So the more you expand your vision of the reality, the more humble you should feel. What is this mighty power that I have not understood? I have no control at all. I will only surrender. That's it. So look at yourself. We look at ourselves in the mirror. Yeah, look at it. Okay. That's not the way to look at yourself. Look at yourself through the cosmos, and you'll get an idea of what you are. So Sri Ramakrishna also says, okay, what are these fellows? You don't have the power to turn one black hair into gray hair. You have nothing. And yet, people think that is I I. And you're saying, who am I? Who am I? Yeah. Okay. This is, the whole thing is the body of God. Imagine. So this is what, keeping my own Prakriti under my control. Now, remember, that is whole nature, Prakriti, Maya, is like that wind flowing freely in space, in the vast reaches of space. You have to have that within space and within. And where there is space, there is time, of course. I project again and again the whole multitude of creation. Why? Because people think that this is a spontaneous process. Like the Buddhists used to say, their old Shanika Vigyanvadi, that's the doctrine of momentary consciousness. You plant a seed in the ground and it becomes into a tree. You throw a seed of yam, and you'll get yams. You throw a seed of mangoes and you get mangoes. Okay. These are natural things, processes. So the cyclic nature of things is spontaneous. This is a nature of nature. You don't have to have someone intervening to do these things. Well, fire burns, and that's its nature. Water wets, that's its nature. And this whole universe runs like this. From the smallest atom, from the smallest subatom to the greatest, you can say, extent of galaxies and all these things, they work on the same principle. Projection, sustenance, dissolution. They come, explode, there, go. So, you might have, okay, that's a scientific view also, but these are processes. You don't have to intervene and bring. Why do you have to bring that fellow called God with a long beard, with a long robe, white robe? It has to be white, otherwise it won't. He cannot be God otherwise. A wise-looking old man there sitting down there. There should be clouds also. Why do you want to bring him here? Yeah, we also say, the Vedanta, why do you have to bring in the guy here? Don't. But that's not the Vedanta concept of God. The Vedanta concept of God is that. The idea is this is not just a material creation. It is a divine creation, divine projection. When you bring in God, then, and has this been seen? Yes. When Sri Ramakrishna touched Swamiji, he seen the whole thing as divine. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya durate. This my maya is divine. So you will see this whole thing, this cosmos as the divine. Why? Because of this reality called Ishvara, God. One time, Swamiji came to Sri Ramakrishna and says, I had a vision. Then he's explaining the vision. So as I meditate, a luminous, multicolored, you can say, triangle appears. So Sri Ramakrishna said, even I have seen that. That is the Brahma Yoni, the womb of Brahman. And I've seen every moment multitudes of universes being created. Now this is an actual vision, it's a cosmic vision of the source of Prakriti. This has been realized. It's not just, it's a kind of a philosophic inquiry and then saying, no, Vedanta never started like that. Vedanta started with an experience and then went on to become philosophy when they put the whole thing in a structure. And that's why philosophy in India is, they will laugh at you. What is philosophy? It's called darshana, to see. So you follow the structure back and go back to the source. So all Vedanta, people think Vedanta philosophy, Vedanta doctrine, there's no philosophy and doctrine, properly speaking. It's an experience. So this is what he's saying, when Swami Vivekananda is saying, is this practical or no? It's saying it was practical first and theoretical next. So these guys saw it, and here, when you're talking about this Prakriti, and what is it Prakriti? And it has been experienced. Sri Ramakrishna says, I saw it. Swami Vivekananda also saw it there. So this Prakriti is a living. When Sri Ramakrishna went to pluck a flower for worship, he plucked and seen the sap oozing from that tree. And immediately he got the vision of the cosmic man, the Virat, living and breathing. And saying all the flowers, the flowering trees, were like those garlands around that cosmic person. Here it is. These things have been over and over and over experienced. People might go under the, leave this place and under the assumption that, oh, this is okay. Philosophically it's sound and it's kind of tallies with what now modern cosmology and cosmologists are saying. And there's a kind of there's a cyclic idea of also the of cosmology of the creation, that it expands and then contracts. It doesn't contract completely, and then again it bounces back, expands, and talks about multiverses and all. This Vedanta has been speaking about it. But that speaking by Vedanta is the result of an experience. So here we are. There, I think we've had some really heavy cosmic, you can say, stuff. Let's read this, the 9th one, since we have stated that we will do it. So when God is doing these projections of this whole universes, does God become bound by those actions? Like if I do, I become bound by some of my actions which I claim to be mine, and then I get bound. So if I claim that these actions belong to God, so those actions will not bind me. That's the idea of spiritual life. So when God is projecting, he cannot say that's another God, I'm not responsible, he is to. There's no other God, there's only Ishvara. So here he says, oh Dhananjaya, that is Arjuna, nor do those actions bind me. What actions? The actions of projection and etc. Remaining as I do, like one unconcerned with and unattached to those actions. Udasinavad, like sitting down unconcerned. Detached rather, not unconcerned. It's there, going on. The idea of I am the doer is absent in the God. Like ordinarily we have this idea. I am the experiences, I am the doer, karta and bhokta. These things are absent in God. So that's why doing everything, yet the Lord is completely detached from all these actions. Otherwise he cannot be, he or she or it cannot be God. It will be like, oh, my finger is burnt, I scorched my finger. I'm weeping for my fingers. So there's one big asteroid that's slamming into Earth. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. No, you don't have to worry about it. So, oh Dhananjaya, the Arjuna, nor do those actions bind me, remaining as I do like one unconcerned with and unattached to those actions. So, like space is unconcerned, as it were, with the breeze that blows, flows in it. Yet the breeze is not attached to the space, nor the space attached to breeze, the winds, huge winds. Yet all those winds have to exist within space. Yet they are without any contact. That is the idea of reality. So what is this? Why doesn't that reality have a face and eyes and nose and hands and this and that? Well, you can conceive of all these things, but they are just symbols. You're trying to understand the non-understandable, incomprehensible. It's very difficult. So you use symbols and words and props for your mind to understand these vastly transcendent things. It cannot be conceived by the mind. Suppose I say 1 billion years. What is that to you? 1 billion. Just, okay, 1 billion years. Do you know what is 1 billion years? Yeah, I know. You know, and yet you don't know. So when you say God, I know, but I don't know. Yeah. That's why Vedanta says it is indefinable. So this indefinability has to be defined. You are on the cusp of knowing and not knowing. That's not the way the mind wants to work. The mind wants certitude. And so it builds all these various systems of religion, and these foolish systems of religion think that they are right. For thousands of years they have been quarreling with others and amongst themselves. So we are right. Who is right and who is wrong? It's just impossible. So the real truth transcends all your conceptions, all your words, all your props, all your symbols, everything. This is the reality. This is the truth. This is existence, this is consciousness, and this is bliss. Om, peace, 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 in the name of the Lord Hari. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om, Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. We offer everything to the Lord Ram Krishna. Yes, okay. Thank you, Isabel. Okay. Please direct technical team to increase YouTube volume in future. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you for pointing out that. These teachings have brought a feeling of completion and infinite possibility in mind. Exactly. There is a tremendous sense of possibilities for each and every person, because that person, in a way, is a microcosm of the macrocosm we were speaking about. Okay. So, yes, gracias. Oh, thank you. Very nice explanation. Okay. How to surrender to our Lord? Yes. In everything, like Shri Ramakrishna says, not I, thou. Naham, tu. So, make us understand how insignificant is our so-called ego. Oh, completely insignificant. I don't have to tell you how to make you understand. It's completely insignificant. So what is significant in my life? The idea of God. Bring in God in your life, and then your life becomes significant. I discovered Vedanta 2 years ago. The problem is that now I have no passion for life. Any advice? It's not possible. When you come to Vedanta, you have to have extra passion for life. You become joyous, you become blissful, you exist. You are beyond death, you are beyond birth, and you feel everyone is a part of you. This is Vedanta. What kind of Vedanta have you been studying for the last 2 years? Look at everything around and feel that this is the cosmic person here. That you are like one cell in the body of God. This is Vedanta. Is there an aspect that is harmful in the major monotheistic religions that teach in an eternal static state? Does this belief harm in one's next life? It doesn't harm in the next life, it harms you in this life only. The idea of a static universe, that everything is static and everything starts and ends, it is harmful for this very life, in this very thinking. We have to transcend all these things into your metaphysical thoughts. So monotheism is just a stage before you come to this absolutism of the Vedanta. So humanity has been traveling from the lowest fetishism, Swamiji says, worshipping of trees and stones and this and that was the stage of the human mind at one point of time. No need to kind of criticize it. That was required then. Then we had totemism, we have shamanism, and we have, you can say, deism and theism and all these various stages of human growth have been recorded in Hinduism, and Hinduism has retained all those things, while other religions have simply, no, they are harmful, they are bad. It's like, taking all my pictures of being a child all wrong, false, throw them out, burn them out. No, you were the guy who was there in those pictures. So why do you have to deny the whole journey of humanity? And in certain parts of the world, the human mind transcended all these monotheistic ideas and came down to the absolute. This is the end and the goal and the culmination of human journeys. Okay. If you have no yearning to live, I'm sorry to say, what you discovered isn't Vedanta at all. Yeah, okay, yeah, Sudisha, fine. Now these guys are chatting amongst themselves. Please let us know, when the subtle body of a Brahma Jnani leaves the gross body, where does the Mana Buddhi Chitta goes? No. The subtle body of a Brahma Jnani, the knower of Brahman, does not go anywhere. It's like the gross body goes back into this earth, the subtle body dissipates into the subtle realms. Na tasya prana mutkramanti, nor does his pranas rise to take up another body. Ihaiva samaviliyate, they all merge here. And Brahmavit san Brahmaiva bhavati, then that knower of Brahman becomes the Brahman. So there is no subtle body of... Imagine, after having the knowledge of Brahman, do you think you need to have another body? Come on. How to realize or feel God in non-living things? What do you mean non-living things? What is now non-living? This table is now non-living. It was once living. It was a tree. So there is no such thing. What was kind of like, give an example of, what you eat has been living things, and they died, and then they are alive in you, and it goes out and again becomes. So there is no straight static line between living and non-living. Please And now you see what's this pandemic, this cosmos, this pandemic, coronavirus. Whether the virus is living or non-living, they haven't even decided yet. And yet, it's taking down people. So, philosophically, remove from your mind this idea of living and non-living, okay? It's a very dynamic process, creation. Okay. You keep on. I have no question. Just bless me once so my upcoming. Bless yourself. Swamiji says, all the strength and succor that you need is within yourself. Therefore, make your own future. So first thing is, Swami Vivekananda said, have faith in yourself. If you have faith in all the 330 millions of gods and all the gods that other foreigners have introduced in your midst, if you don't have faith in yourself, there's nothing. So have faith in yourself. Have faith. And that will make you work wonders. Om, peace, peace, peace.